ESPN, and it's a superstar showdown. The heavily favored Thunder, led by 26-year-old Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, the presumptive MVP, who averaged 33 points on 60% shooting in games 5, 6, and 7 of their series against Denver. And there, of course, is the Ant-Man, Minnesota, making quick work of the Lakers and Warriors behind the 23-year-old superstar. So SGA and Ant were the top two scorers in the NBA in the regular season. This is the fifth time the top two players in total points will face off in the conference finals or the NBA finals. It's the first time in 10 years since James Harden and Steph Curry met in the conference final in 2015. Here's Stephen A. on what this means for the Ant-Man.
When you got a cat like Ant-Man potentially getting to the NBA finals, that changes it, because that's the new blood you want to see. And so even though he said he wasn't interested in being the face, here's the bottom line. His game doesn't tell us that. His attitude on the basketball court doesn't tell us that. The combination of the two forces us to say we don't give a damn whether you want it or not. You gonna have it if you deliver.
It's an interesting way of looking at it. On one side, you got Anthony Edwards, who has knocked off every great star in the NBA imaginable over the last couple of years, and I feel a need to say it again, is 23 years old. And then you have SGA, who was going to be named the MVP of the league at some point here, any minute. Not sure exactly what the delay is on that, but he's the MVP. He's 26. Could one argue, Alan, that whoever it is that emerges from this and goes on to the finals, if they win the championship, that guy becomes the guy in the league?
Yeah, the guy. Let's not do the face of the league thing, though, because the face of the league thing is a whole other conversation that does.
What does that mean?
Face of the league is like LeBron James. It's the brand. It's everybody in the country, even people who don't follow basketball, knows who this guy is and wants to know more.
You don't think Ant-Man could be that if he wins a championship?
He doesn't want that, and if he doesn't want that, he's not going to be the guy that wants to be the brand. So you leave him alone. Now, does it mean, though, that he becomes the next one when it comes to stars in this league? I think it does. I think for him and what he's done at such a young age and in the compelling way he does it, I think that's the thing that really starts to elevate him into the status of the elite players in the league. And by the way, him doing it while also really reminding us physically of Michael Jordan, there is something special to that, Marcus. So I do think this is a huge series for him when it comes to that.
Look, you guys know. The players in the league know who the guy is, right? If Anthony, let's use him to start. We'll get to SGA. Let's use him to start. And it says they're win West. I think I would take it a step farther. They got to win the title. If Anthony Edwards leads the Timberwolves to a championship, will the guys in the NBA say, yep, he's the guy. He's the next great one?
To be honest, I think they're already saying that. Like, his resume up until now, right, of the guys he's eliminated in the playoffs, and it's bigger than SGA. Let's be clear.
Take a look at it. He's going to put it up for you right now.
820.
So, like, to me, like, I think he's already the guy. This steps just cements him, like, as the best player in the league, but I don't think it's the face of the NBA.
What'd you call in our meeting this morning?
When I said that you have to be the leader of the new school.
There you go.
Right? Like, I feel like he's the leader of new school, but it takes time to be the face of the league, right? Like, you have to be in a certain brand. Like you said, your brand has to be a certain place. You have to be in a certain
I got to tell you, I feel like every time I watch a game, there's an Anthony Edwards commercial on, Mark. I mean, I feel like he is the brand we're talking about. He has everything you need to be. He has the charisma. He has the attitude. He has the swagger. I kind of like the idea of him saying, I don't want to be the face. You know what? Most people who say they don't want to be the face of the league are really saying, I'd like to be the face of the league, and I just don't want to say.
He's playing hard to get?
I want to be the face of the league.
He's playing hard to get?
I think
there's a lot that comes with that, though. There's a lot of responsibility that comes with that. There's a little more corporate kind of personality that comes with it. I don't think he's any of that. You said it again in the meeting. I'm going to use all of your notes from this morning. Charles Barkley, it's a great example. I am not a role model. Don't make me have to live a certain way just because you're holding me up to a standard I don't feel like living up to. I think Edwards is more like that than anything else.
But here's the difference. At no point, and I say this with nothing but the utmost respect for Charles, I believe he would say this, there was no moment in time when he was the best player in the world. He was a great player. He was a first ballot Hall of Famer, all top set, all that. There was no moment in time when you said Charles Barkley is the best player in the league. We might say that about Anthony Edwards real soon. I mean, I think it might be a reasonable thing to say right now. That's a big difference.
It's definitely reasonable, right? But Now you have the social media aspect, right, where the players can actually go out and say, listen, this is not my role. I'm 23. I'm going to be a young kid. I'm going to compete, and I'm going to live my life how I want to. I don't care about the glitz and the glam of the NBA saying, look, you are the face of the league. No, I'm not. At least not right now.
Right,
like,
not right now.
I think he will eventually grow into it and settle into being like, okay, I'm more mature. I want to be the face of the NBA. But as we speak right now, he's not the face of the NBA because you still have LeBron and Steph Curry.
Yeah, look, and that's the most important part is those guys are still. And when Michael Jordan was coming up, there was still Bird and Magic and those guys still in the league, so it wasn't yet his turn.
Exactly.
But once it became his turn, once he matured into it, then it became more natural. By the way, he also has to get through the car wash that is the defense of the Thunder.
For
sure.
They've got a bunch of guys to throw at him, and there's going to be brushes and all kinds of soap being thrown at him. Wherever he goes on the floor, he's going to be covered, and that's going to be the most difficult.
That's why it starts with if. There's a really big if involved in all this. And yes, to put a ribbon on it, clearly, LeBron and Steph, it's still their league. But they are a combined 77 years old.
It's time.
It needs to be someone else's time soon. Meanwhile, let's do What's Your Number for Game 1 tonight. Again, you'll see it right here on ESPN. Minnesota at OKC. Allen, Anthony Edwards, how many points is he going to score in Game 1?
28. I'm looking at that number for him, just something under 30, but you're going to see if he's going to be aggressive early or is he going to be aggressive late to see what their defense is going to do against him in the first half. Marcus,
SGA, Game 1 tonight. How many points?
I got 24, and I think, that's no knock to him. He's been scoring the ball really well in the last 3 games, but I just think he gets his team involved early to kind of get their confidence going and just, be more of a facilitator and pick and choose his spots when he needs to score the ball.
The rust thing will be interesting to watch tonight. Minnesota's been sitting a long time. Finally, Allen, tomorrow night, Knicks and Pacers at the Garden. Jalen Brunson, how many points?
Finals is tonight on ESPN. The Wolves and the Thunder and OKC. Here's how both teams got here. The Timberwolves made an early playoff statement as a 6 seed, taking out Luka, LeBron, and the Lakers. Took them 5 games. Anthony Edwards averaged almost 27 a game, including 43 in Game 4. The Thunder started their postseason with a 4-game sweep in their first-round series against the Grizz. This included a comeback from 29 points down in Game 3. SGA averaged almost 28 a game in that series. Then Minnesota won their second straight series in 5 games in the conference semis, this time over the Dubs. After Steph Curry went down in Game 1, Minnesota won the last 4 games to advance to their second straight conference finals. And the Timberwolves had to wait to find out who their opponent was. Sunday, when the Thunder took out the Nuggets in Game 7, wasn't even close. SGA had 35. OKC led by as many as 43 to advance to their first conference finals since the KD Westbrook-led Thunder back in 2016. NBA analyst Alan Hahn joins the program now. Alan, good to see you. OKC favored to win the series and the eventual Larry O. But what makes the Timberwolves a difficult matchup for the Thunder?
Very close to being a mirror image because they've got great depth, and that's what you love to see off the bench. I think that's very important the deeper you get into the playoffs to have a Naz Reid and a Dante DiVincenzo coming off the bench for support, and also what they can bring defensively. There's a lot of length on this Timberwolves team, and then, of course, you got the star power of Anthony Edwards and what we have seen him do in the playoffs. Him going head-to-head with SGA is going to obviously be the headline, the marquee. But there's a lot of other matchups in this series to watch. And what you're seeing right there is the depth of that team. Julius Randle, a big factor in this series as well. Can he handle the height and the size and the physicality that the Thunder bring? This is going to be a really fun series.
Yeah, hopefully this thing goes 7. All that to say, in your estimation, who wins it, the series?
I think your wish will come true. I think it will go 7. I will take the Thunder in 7, but I think it's going to be it'll be a heavyweight bout.
Alan, hang tight. Talking about the East now. Randy, what you got?
Xin chào tất cả các bạn, mình lại quay lại đây. Video ngày hôm nay mình sẽ tô màu những sản phẩm này đây. Các bạn hãy xem thật kỹ nha. Đây là những sản phẩm mình chưa tô. Những sản phẩm mình tô màu xong thì chắc chắn nó sẽ rất chi là đẹp. Tại vì mình có hộp sam màu này. Sam màu này của mình. Nó giúp mình tô màu rất chi là đẹp luôn. Và bây giờ các bạn cùng theo dõi mình tô màu những sản phẩm nha. Hẹn gặp lại các bạn.
Bây giờ mình sẽ tiếp tô màu nha các bạn.
tôi anh là hôm nay nào hả? Đây là vòng của mình đã được hoàn thành nha, mình chọn xong rồi. Video của mình đến đây là kết thúc.